Good evening. I'm Jamie Allen Black, CEO of the Jewish Women Foundation, and on behalf of the entire foundation, I welcome you to our celebration of Jewish women leaders. We're so glad that you're with us. This is for us for our first online event, and I will be your host of the hour. Thank you to JWFNY member and the uber talented Naomi Les for the beautiful rendition of Eitz Chaim that started us off this evening. It's a tree of life to those who hold on to it, and all of its supporters are happy. That's a real vision to cling to. As you may know, the event, Bejeweled, a celebration of Jewish women socialpreneurs, was originally an in-person gala to be held this very evening. At the Jewish Women's Foundation, we are expert at pivoting, and we're a nimble organization responsive to the needs of our jewels, Jewish, entrepreneurial, women, executives, and leaders. Extraordinary leaders who use their Jewish values and a gender lens to solve intractable problems facing women and girls anywhere in the world, both inside the Jewish community and beyond. Our annual gala celebration is how we raise funds to support our grantee partners. We are truly, truly grateful to those of you who purchased tickets and generously joined the host committee when we thought we might be together in person. Supporting women's leadership, ensuring we are at the tables where decisions about our lives are being made, elevating the voices of the marginalized, promoting gender equity and social justice are just some of the reasons we need to continue our work right now, even in the face of this rampant virus. Our jewels are on the front lines of the COVID pandemic because it has only amplified and exacerbated the needs of women and girls. Women are still being sold for sex, incarcerated at alarming rates, suffering from racial injustices, dying in childbirth, and from the lack of access to reproductive health care. And there are still children in cages at our border. Supporting JWFNY means knowing that you have done your part to keep the issues affecting women and girls at the forefront of our society now, while we fight the pandemic and also beyond this crisis. Let's make sure women are not only considered, but they're leading the way forward. We may not know where we'll end up when this pause is over, but what we do know is that we must be there helping to create the solutions. I need to switch gears for a minute. Cheers. Great. I need to talk about some Zoomy kind of things with you. I'm sure many of you have become quite adept at Zooming, but before we started, we made an offering to the goddess of technology, but she can be fickle. So how many emails did you get today? Yeah, right, we know. Thank you in advance for your patience before and now during this. We intentionally chose to hold this event in the meeting format rather than as a webinar. Part of what's so special and beautiful about our events is that the community that is created and strengthened when we're together. Please take advantage of this meeting mode format to scroll through and see who's on the call. Send private messages in the chat box, make plans to catch up, and create the magic that happens at JWFNY events in this space and in person. So here are some top tips to help you participate more fully. Format. Please make sure your Zoom is in speaker view. We have more than 300 people joining us tonight, and it'll be easier to see who's talking if you're in speaker view. You can change that by going to the top right-hand corner of your screen, choosing speaker view instead of gallery view. There's a chat box. We strongly encourage you to use the chat box for cheers and general comments. The staff will also be posting any links you might need. The icon for the chat box is a word bubble at the bottom of your screen if you're on a computer. Emily just sent everyone a note. Is that true? Why, yes. We just sent everyone a note, and the chat bubble icon should be highlighted on the bottom of your screen, letting you know that there's a new message. If you have a question at any time, please chat specifically to Melissa Rosen, host, so she can get it to the right person. You can do this by opening that chat box, and when it opens, there will be a field labeled To with a drop-down menu. Click on that drop-down menu and select Melissa Rosen, host. Isn't this fun? Are we having fun? So we have muted everybody for now, just to minimize the background noise that's happening. At the end of the event, we'll raffle off a $2,000 gift card from Yvel Jewelers. We thank them for their generous contribution and hope you'll stay on until the very end to see if you won. If you're inspired by what you hear today, please support us. Throughout the event, you can text JWFNY to 44321 and follow the instructions you receive. We'll remind you of the number throughout the event. Don't you worry, we will remind you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the president of the Jewish Women's Foundation of New York, Rachel Weinstein.
Thanks, Jamie. Good evening, everyone. Can you see me? As the president of the Jewish Women's Foundation of New York, and on behalf of all of the board, I want to welcome you to our Bejeweled event tonight. I know that these are strange, unsettling, and isolating times, and we all wish you nothing but health and safety for your family. You know, as I look out at all the faces who are on this call, I'm truly overwhelmed. I can't believe that over 365 people registered for our event tonight. To me, it feels like a Shahianu moment. And if you were with us at our convening in September, you'll know that this is the second such Shahianu moment for our foundation in less than a year. And when I think of those moments, I think of joy and celebration, and it feels really great to share that with you tonight. So thank you. There's a Jewish expression that we go from strength to strength, and here at the foundation, we draw our strength from the Jewish women social entrepreneurs that we support. I'm so glad that you're here tonight to hear about our work and the work of our jewels, as Jamie mentioned, that's how we affectionately call them. They are dynamic women leaders who, even during this global crisis, are working to represent, to serve, and protect marginalized populations, many of whom are women. This pandemic has further exposed the social, economic, and racial disparities that already exist within our society, both here in America and around the world. And at the same time, it has also highlighted the crucial role that women play in our society. In a recent article, the New York Times highlighted how 1 in 3 essential workers is a woman. Most of them are in the healthcare services and the food services. And although they are essential, this does not mean that they are well compensated, nor does it mean that their jobs come with glory. In fact, over the last 6 weeks, these women have been risking their health and their safety and that of their families, and yet they go grossly underpaid. Tonight, we will have the privilege to hear from Claire Wasserman, founder of Ladies Get Paid, in conversation with our event co-chair and fellow board member, Dana Levinson-Steiner. Claire is a Jewish women social entrepreneur who works to fight the gender wage gap and also to give women the tools to advance their careers. Tonight, we'll hear also what her organization is doing in the midst of this pandemic. Before that, I should have said that you will also see a video about JWFNY and the work of our jewels and what we're doing to support them. So we'll have the video, then the conversation with Claire and Dana. No matter the sector and no matter the industry, when I hear the experts talk about how we're going to emerge from this pandemic, they all say the same thing, that we cannot go back to the status quo, that we need to re-examine and retool our models so that they're more effective. As I said before, this pandemic has further exposed the iniquities in our society. Our jewels have already been working to disrupt the system. They've already been working to rebalance the scales, and we need their voices to lead the charge as we emerge from this crisis, and we work to create more sustainable and more effective economic and social models. With that, we will raise a glass tonight to our jewels, to the first cohort who we've been working with all year and who many of you will have met at our convening in September. And we will have the great privilege of announcing to you our second cohort who will be joining us in the coming year. After that, Jamie will come back to close out our event, and we will hear some beautiful music from Neshama Carlbeck. Now, one of the things that I've decided to do during this time of social distancing is to learn sign language, American Sign Language. So if there's something you hear tonight, I know you're muted, but you can still applaud. Before I turn this over for our program, I just have a few thank yous that I'd like to do. First and foremost, a huge thank you to our fabulous event co-chairs, Miriam Kaslow, Ayla Morgan, Dana Levinson-Steiner. I know this wasn't the event that you imagined tonight, but look at this turnout. You filled the room and you've made it a tremendous success, and we're very grateful for all of your hard work. Of course, we could not have done this without our board of directors and our host committee. Thank you to all of you for your devoted support. We also need to give a big round of applause to our very own in-house jewel, Jamie Allen Black, and to our fabulous dedicated staff, Melissa, Rachel, Natasha, and Emily. Thank you for pivoting and pulling off tonight's event. Thank you for all that you do day to day to make sure that the vision of the foundation is realized. And last but not least, I raise my glass to all of you out here tonight. We're so thrilled that you could join us, and I hope that our program will bring you a bit of inspiration at this time. Enjoy.
Call them what you will, change makers, innovators, thought leaders, visionaries. In ways large and small, they fight, they disrupt, they take risks. They push boundaries to change the way we live in the world.
At JWFNY, there's a specificity to our philanthropy. We're a dynamic community of individuals who share a common set of values and a desire to make change through our philanthropy.
We created the collective to give Jewish women social entrepreneurs a platform. These are women who use their Jewish values and a gender lens to solve intractable problems throughout the world.
Cohort members work in the United States, Israel, in Africa, and South America. They work inside the Jewish community and beyond. They come from every denomination of Judaism, as well as those who are culturally Jewish. These leaders are diverse and impressive. They represent the leadership that is our Jewish community.
I am really excited to be in a collective with other Jewish women who are doing impactful, creative work that comes at the world's issues.
Everything that my education taught me was that my orthodoxy belongs to me, and I get to live it completely as who I am, and this is who I am. At a very early age, I was pretty fearless, and I could look around and see where injustice was, and I just felt in my gut that I wanted to make change.
Judaism and the Jewish history is impacting my leadership. I think that most of it are the values. This is the main thing that I took from the Judaism history, personally.
Our role in the world is to make it a better place, and that we are obligated to try to share the opportunities that we have with those that lack those opportunities. This is sort of the moral foundation of what it means to be Jewish and what it means to be human.
And what I really would love to see in the future of the women's empowerment movement is us always knowing every day that we wake up is that the seat of our power is our humanity.
My vision is in Israel that is democratic and liberal and doesn't compromise on civil liberties of any of its citizens, including and especially its women. I don't think I envision myself as a leader at all, but I did always think of myself as a feminist.
The value that really does resonate with the work that I do is the value of human dignity and of each human life, and that everyone has something to offer, and that everyone should have the opportunity to contribute to their community, to their society.
There's something very different about this fellowship because everyone is a woman-identified person, and that feels different than any other fellowship I've ever been in.
And I think the most important thing is to create this sisterhood network that helps each of us to get further than we would get if we were doing it alone.
The Jewish Women's Foundation of New York is a catalyst for gender justice and social innovation. We identify and invest in Jewish women leaders. We provide them with professional development opportunities for themselves personally, and we provide a platform for them to amplify their voices.
We have an obligation to inspire people to do what's right. Today's influencers are motivated. They demonstrate an emotional investment in their work. It's inspiring, it's exciting, and there's a place for everyone to learn from them, to partner with them, and support them.
I'm here in this collective to be able to stand with other women and say that change is coming, and we are a part of that change. But there's a hell of a lot more work to do.
I'm a big believer that we have the power to make change. I've seen over the last decade that we've made tremendous strides, and we're coming together collectively in ways that we had never done before. I'm a big believer in the power of coming together.
I am a Jew, I am a feminist, I am a philanthropist, I am a collaborator, and at JWFNY, I can be at home in all of these identities. I hope you will consider joining us and lending your support so that we can continue to grow our investment in these game-changing innovators.
We are the leaders.
We are the leaders.
We are the leaders.
We are the leaders we need right now.
What an incredible video. I know that I have sobbed repeatedly watching this video, so I hope that everyone else has had the same experience. For those of you I have not yet met, I'm Dana Levinson-Steiner. I am on the board of directors of the Jewish Women's Foundation of New York, and I'm one of the co-chairs for this event. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our special guest, Claire Wasserman, the co-founder and chief brand officer of Ladies Get Paid, of which my shirt proudly represents. Named one of Entrepreneur Magazine's 100 Most Powerful Women, Claire Wasserman is an educator and writer focused on helping women grow their careers and their bank accounts. And as someone who has personally used Claire's methods, I can assure you it works. As the founder of Ladies Get Paid, Claire grew the community in less than 3 years to 70,000 people from all 50 states and more than 120 countries. Claire has spoken in places such as PayPal, the United Nations Foundation, and Yale. She has been featured in the New York Times, partnered with the city of Los Angeles, and collaborated with Nike. She is currently writing a book about women, work, and self-worth to be published by Simon & Schuster in 2021. One online troll referred to her as female supremacy in a velvet bow. We're going to hear some wisdom from Claire and then come together for a conversation. If you have any questions you'd like to ask Claire, please send them through the chat box directly to Melissa Rosen. Yeah. Claire, it's so great to be able to connect with you this evening.
I just laugh every time I think about that troll calling me female supremacy in a velvet bow, and I'm okay with that. I'll take it.
As we should. First of all, I think it's fabulous. And second of all, I think it's a compliment. So okay. I absolutely love it. So thank you, Claire, for really sharing everything with us tonight. We're so excited. And I first became familiar with Ladies Get Paid, I think in 2017. And I know that so much has changed within the organization since then. But one thing that hasn't changed is your entrepreneurship. So as you know, tonight we're celebrating our annual current cohort of Jewish women entrepreneurs and inducting our new collective. Each of these extraordinary women is on a different journey in their path to changing the world. As a fellow Jewish woman entrepreneur, what are some gems of wisdom that you can share in your own journey in changing the world?
Well, I just want to, and I think this is a question that you may get to later, but I want to talk about where my social justice and social entrepreneurship came from, which really started at a place called Camp Kinderland. And so I wanted to mention that because in the chat, if anybody knows about that camp, I want you to write me. So it's also called Camp with a Conscience. So that's the subtitle there. And it was started in the 1920s by a Jewish leftist organization. And going there when I was 7, 8, 9, my grandparents actually met there as camp counselors. My whole family's been there. And one of the activities I remember vividly was writing protest letters to Nike, of all places, for, I think it was child labor, and, you know, Paul Robeson Hall. And so there were these things that were just normal to me. And so, gems of wisdom now, I mean, everything that I do and everything that I've learned, I mean, it really comes from those before me. And I guess just the thing that I'm sort of grappling with now and always kind of have been from the beginning is, can you do well and do good? Is there an inherent tension in wanting to serve others, but also wanting to make money? Right. And so my organization helps women grow their wealth. So I want to be unabashed about saying, let's make a ton of money. But then there's a little bit of guilt that comes in, right? Of, well, if we're being inclusive here, which we are, we keep our ticket prices very, very low, then does that limit our potential as an organization to make money? So I sort of feel like it's very meta, right? So what I experience in my own life and as a leader of an organization, we're helping women while we're also trying to figure this out ourselves. So that's kind of my non-answer to you asking me for wisdom. I'm trying to get around from answering this. I'm still learning.
It's good wisdom, absolutely. And I think, you really touched on something really important, which is the different experiences that we have in our lives, whether it's summer camp or even whether we look back in our Jewish history, where we know that Jewish women were on the front lines of the labor movement, of the unions, who were really advocating not only on behalf of women and children, but also on behalf of men in the Jewish and non-Jewish community to ensure pay equity, to ensure safety. So I love this idea of doing well and doing good. I think that's such a fabulous notion that all of our entrepreneurs can surely relate to. I think something that is fairly obvious, Claire, and I suspect as a small business owner, you understand this better than anyone. Ladies Get Paid, for those who aren't familiar, is an in-person and virtual community that serves thousands and thousands of women and non-binary folks in the quest for pay equity. So we are in unprecedented times right now in the midst of a global pandemic. How has your business model pivoted in these challenging times? And how do you balance the ethos of your company while also taking into account the pathos of the movement?
Okay, I think the question here really is, how do I balance getting up in the morning and my sanity? Right, I always end with sort of stay strong, stay safe, but stay sane. Also, yeah, I mean, most of our business comes from in-person. Most of our revenue comes from brand partnerships. Both of those things really have dried up. And that was basically 95% of our revenue. Fortunately, we do have this large online community. They're in the habit of taking webinars. I know Zoom too well, and all of you know that too well as well. And we also have an online platform where they've been communicating with each other for 3 years. We've got different channels based on essentially workplace frustration and anxiety. And so I've been watching for those 3 years about kind of what they're, not just what do they want, but what do they really need at work. So the good news is that, they've been online the whole time. We kind of eavesdrop on them and see what
take away from your experience.
Create. And so we're just paying more attention now to, can you really pivot online, offline to online? Somewhat, but it also, you need to translate it. Things that, what does interactive look like online will be a bit different. I think the silver lining to all of this is the fact that we can have so many different people in a room together who would never be there otherwise, from all over the world. So that's been huge. In terms of the business model, I think it's just more for less, meaning let's just try to get as many people as possible to show up for things and either charge them nothing, but we're at least getting them into the community and later on we can figure it out, or it's, $5. So it's again, just more for less. And we also created a video library called the Institute for Higher Earning. And those are career development videos that we've been doing the whole time for 3 years, but we never really cataloged them. It was sort of, if you missed it, you missed it. Now there's a space where you can go and you can actually watch all of these things. But, it's day by day. I'm certainly figuring it out. And I don't know how sustainable this is long-term for the amount of money we're making. It's working for now, but I guess we're all trying to figure it out as the days go by.
Sure. And, as someone who receives your emails on a fairly regular basis, I have the inside scoop on what Ladies Get Paid is doing to support women during this time. But could you talk a little bit about some of the workshops that you're offering? I saw that you're doing a COVID-19 crisis workshop where small business owners can apply for federal loans. So can you speak a little bit more about the ways in which your organization is really just doing incredible work to support women in this challenging time?
Yeah, it's things that are keeping me up at night. So, I mean, listen, Ladies Get Paid got started because I needed it. I had a lot of questions about navigating uncomfortable situations at work. And so as a small business, it was like, how do I make money? Do I pivot? Do I get a loan? What are all of these acronyms? I'm not getting a response from my so we just made a whole list of questions that we had as a business. And I also have been hosting these weekly lunches called Bring Your Own Lunch, so BYOL. And it's an hour where women submit questions beforehand. We listen and we give them the programming that they're asking for. I think a lot of times we're trying to figure out what does somebody need, and we don't think that maybe they could tell us that, so we should just ask. So the programming, it's the kind of expected of, I lost my job, what do I do? Is investing smart now? What does 401k mean at this point? So all of the kind of good habits that they've developed over the past 3 years with us, do they get thrown out, right? Like even my negotiation class, I tell women every day, ask for more money, which I still do, but they're probably not going to get that money. Now, so is my message different here? So again, a lot of it is kind of what we did before, but a bit more in a crisis mode, and also scheduling them more frequently. Absolutely.
For sure. And it's something we've been talking a lot about in the foundation. I know it's something that we grappled with when putting together this gala, is that we wanted to take stock of the reality that this is a really scary time for so many people, not only in terms of their, physical health, but in terms of their emotional health, of their economic health. And we didn't want to necessarily put on something that might have felt frivolous or might have felt kind of superficial. But I think, as you can see, this is a real opportunity for us to learn from one another, because the work never ends. In the same way that, the world will continue to turn once this pandemic, thankfully and hopefully blessedly soon, ends, that pay equity is still a problem. Women experiencing harassment and abuse at work is still a problem. So our work continues at JWFNY in the same way that Ladies Get Paid work definitely will still, hopefully not for long, but will still continue in the immediate and near future.
We have a joke. We have a joke, and feel free to use this for yourself. Our joke is we're trying to put ourselves out of business, right? Like, I think it might take 216 years for us to go out of business, with the wage gap. But it is interesting to go to work every day, and our goal is to not have to exist anymore. And so the fact that we're needed even more now, it's not a good thing, right? But at least, it's giving us purpose. So I'm able, to stay sane and, be able to wake up and feel like I'm doing my part in this. The other thing I wanted to mention that we created, this happened basically the first week we all started sheltering in place. We created a directory of women-owned businesses. So it's called Support Your Ladies, supportyourladies.com. Again, came out of my own need of just, if I want to purchase something, I want to purchase it from a woman. But where do I find these businesses? And so we created a directory, different categories, and we sent it out there. We've got now probably about 4,000 women in it. And so it's, it's something that I guess we should have always done, but there wasn't that. You make things when you're under duress, like you at least take action in some way. And so it also feels a bit similar to even questions that I receive now, and that, it educates us in terms of the programming. It's all the same stuff that people want to know. It's just under pressure, right? How do I find a new job? Should I pivot, right? My business is struggling. These are questions we all have anyway. But, again, it's within this environment. So as an organization and as a leader, it's like, how do we stay calm? Also, so again, like I said before, it's very meta what we're experiencing, since we're also trying to lead others.
And it feels so amplified too. I think that's a real feeling, is like that sense of urgency. And clearly Ladies Get Paid is doing this work to really meet that need. So I want to talk a little bit about identity, and a little bit about the feeling that our history and our memories as a Jewish community and as Jewish women serve in the kind of work that we do. So I know that she's gonna smile, but my mom is on this call, my grandmother is on this call, a lot of women in my life who are near and dear to me, who are Jewish women, who inspired me to advocate and stand up for what I know is the right thing, has really guided my principles in who I am as a Jewish leader, as a Jewish woman, as a philanthropist. So Claire, what in your Jewish identity has sort of stood out to you in your path as an entrepreneur and as a change maker?
I'm going to have to tell the story that I told you yesterday.
You have to, it's a good story.
Okay. So when I got married, I'm no longer married, but that's not the story I'm going to tell. But when I first got married, we obviously, we met with the rabbi beforehand, and I was very nervous. This was my husband's rabbi. And one of the first questions she asked me was sort of, how Jewish are you? Or like, tell me about your path. And I didn't have a bat mitzvah, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to talk about that. And I just kind of sputtered and I said, well, my father, who is a literary agent, he actually helped title the book, God is Not Great. He represented Christopher Hitchens. I was really embarrassed. I was like, should I tell him that? And of course, I told him that, right? God is not great. And he's an atheist. And, I was brought up to question everything. And I didn't have a bat mitzvah. And then he just laughs. This rabbi just starts laughing at me. And he goes, oh, Claire, you're so Jewish. And it felt so great about that was it also allowed me to release any shame that I had, right? Because that's clearly what I was carrying into this. And also recognizing that it's not about having the bat mitzvah, right? It's about culture. And that culture doesn't even necessarily mean, learning about history, but it's about love of the arts or the social justice or questioning everything. And it felt really nice to be able to learn that this was actually an identity that I could own. I didn't just happen to be like this. And even now, this is the second time that I've been invited to speak with a Jewish organization. But other than that, no one ever asks me the question. I never talk about again, not just faith, but my background, my culture. It's all very much what am I doing right now and what do I look forward to in the future? So knowing that this was a question you were going to ask, it made me want to go to therapy a little bit. It made me want to.
It's also a very Jewish thing, by the way. So
sure, I know. So but it's always this constant exploration of like, is this Judaism? Did this come from my parents? But can I separate my parents from faith? Because it's. I really come from a family where no one talked about religion. Nobody went to synagogue. We go on Yom Kippur and we do Passover, but everybody kind of distanced themselves from that. So I would say the biggest thing that I'm learning about now is, again, releasing the shame and exploring my identity, that it is okay to identify myself publicly this way. But again, at the end of the day, it really goes back to Camp Kinderland and social justice, because that's always been a constant. I just never realized that was related to Judaism. I just thought this is what everybody, this is normal.
It's amazing. And I think you're touching on something which is so important in Jewish identity, which is asking questions and really, making the space. I think it was Hillel who said, like, if I'm not going to do this, then who else is going to? It has to be me. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. I'm clearly not a rabbi, but there are many rabbis on this call. So with that being said, it has been such a joy to learn with and from you, Claire, and just as a moment of personal gratitude, anyone who knows me knows that pay equity is a really significant part of my journey. And Ladies Get Paid has been instrumental in helping me find my own worth, my own self-value, and above all has gotten me a great paycheck. So I think it's really important for those of you who have young daughters or those who are entering the workforce. If you're currently in the workforce, I really can't stress enough. Claire and her team are doing some magic. So in lieu of any additional questions that we have, please, of course.
Before, I just want to mention, because you talked about this quote that you paraphrased. I'm going to paraphrase your paraphrase of, who's, if not me, who, if not now, when. That is how I started Ladies Get Paid, because I, about 5 years ago, started to do some research, simply Googling, what is feminism? What is the wage gap? I was like below 101 here. And it was reading these statistics, the fact that less than 22% of women make it past middle management. You know, the fact that Black and Hispanic women are making 55 to 63 cents on the dollar. It is not the 80 cents that we tend to hear about, right? Although that's the amalgamation. So, you know, hearing these things, I just got really depressed because it's systemic and it's overwhelming. So the question is, as an individual, is there literally anything I can do? And for a year it was, I don't think so. I don't think so. And then it became, let's just start talking about it. Let's get women to talk about money, because it represents so many of the statistics I was looking at, because it was about power, really, and worth and value. And then there was the aha moment of, if I can teach another woman to negotiate her salary, then she will at least close her own wage gap. And if she can teach the next woman how to negotiate her salary. And that's something that we did last year, was we taught women to facilitate negotiation workshops. We wanted to show people that these are not experts. I mean, they were trained in the way that I trained myself, but that any of us can do it. And any of us can also become kind of our own thought leaders here. And if you're able to make one small step, I mean, collectively, that is huge change that can happen. And if nothing else, you can at least go to sleep knowing that you did your part that day. So I really love that you mentioned that quote, because that was the beginning of everything for me when I discovered that.
It's so full circle. I mean, I think in so many ways, it really speaks to your past, your present, and hopefully your future. So Claire, we really want to thank you so much for being with us tonight, for sharing your story and your journey. It has been so inspiring for me to learn with and from you over many years, and of course tonight. And now I'd like to turn the program back to Jamie.
Hello. Claire, thank you so much. Dana, I love this conversation. I think that if it were another place and time, we could be doing this for 4 hours. Like, there's just so much we can all learn from each other and share. I loved reading the chat box. You guys should go, Claire and Dana should go read it now, because you'll see what people were saying and how complimentary everyone was and how excited people are about raising up women and pay equity and asking for raises and knowing what your worth is and all those great things. So thank you both so much. Okay, as many of you know, last year we changed our grant making to focus solely on the amazing leaders who promote gender justice and social innovation. We created the Collective. Women chosen for the Collective participate in a 3-year program to support their visionary leadership. The cohort is about the leader, how she sees a problem and identifies a solution, how she takes that solution and partners with others to ensure social change. We provide unrestricted grants to support her organization, but also funding to support her own professional development. And we are extremely grateful to have the inimitable Ruth Messenger facilitate their curriculum, and Ruth is on the call, so I'll go like this now. Today, we support the leaders who expertly guide their organizations. And mark my words, these women will run our communities, our governments, and eventually the world. Now let's take a moment to acknowledge the members of the first cohort of the Collective. You saw them in our video, and many of them are on the call today, so feel free to shout them out in the chat box. So Jewish women social entrepreneurs working throughout the United States include Lauren Hirsch, National Director, World Without Exploitation, Miriam Kabakov, Executive Director, Eshel, Rabbi B'nai Lappe, Founder and Rosh Yeshiva, Savara, Evie Litwak, Executive Director, Witness to Mass Incarceration, and Yavila McCoy, CEO, Dimensions. Women working in Africa include Gabrielle Fondler, Executive Director, Hatua Laconi, and Tanya Layden, Co-founder and Executive Director, Livelihoods. Both women are based in Kenya. And Rachel Zaslow, Executive Director, Mother Health International, and Rachel is based in Uganda. Supporting women in Israel are Dr. Mazal Shaul, Executive Director, WePower, and Susan Weiss, Founder and Executive Director of the Center for Women's Justice. Oop, I get a new glass. Join me as I raise my glass to these leaders. Now I welcome Yvette. Oh, now we drink, sorry. It's like the Passover Seder. When do we drink? Now we drink. It's water. So I want to welcome co-event chairs Miriam Kaslow and Ayla Morgan to introduce the second cohort of the Jewish Women's Foundation of New York Collective. Yay,
Thank you, Jamie. It's our great pleasure to introduce you to the amazing women chosen for our second cohort. Thank you all for being here to hear it. You're the first to hear this announcement. For those members on the call, when you recognize yourself, please say hello. Here we go. This jewel is using her training as a lawyer and a line cook to help end food deserts. Are you out there?
Hello. Yes. Hi, I'm Michelle. Hello.
Michelle Horowitz, co-founder and executive director of Appetite for Change, is based in Minneapolis. A former public defender with experience in the culinary industry, racial and health equity in North Minneapolis by breaking systemic barriers, preventing access to fresh and food, enhancing the ability of individuals and families to make positive food choices, and creating communities of support and opportunity through business enterprises and programs.
This cohort member has been named 3 times to the Forward's 50 most influential American Jews. Rabbi Jill Jacobs, where can we see you?
Hi, it's so good. Can you see me? It's so good to be here with all of you, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Rabbi Jill Jacobs is executive director of TRUA, the Rabbinic Call for Human Rights. Rabbi Jacobs heads a network of more than 2,000 rabbis and cantors in the US and Canada, advocating for a variety of human rights issues across North America, Israel, and the Palestinian territories. We welcome you.
Our next jewel produced a documentary film about LGBTQ Jewish teens.
Hi, that's me. I'm Edith.
Edith, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Am I unmuted?
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Wonderful to be with all of you.
Now we see you. Edith Klein, President and CEO of Keshet, Rainbow in Hebrew, committed to social justice and anti-oppression education, leads an organization and movement to making LGBTQ participation and equality a Jewish communal value.
This next jewel is a fierce anti-violence advocate, but is unable to join us tonight. But we're excited to welcome her to our collective. Tamar Manasseh is founder and president of MASK, Mothers and Men Against Senseless Killings. Manasseh, a mother on the south side of Chicago, has built a neighborhood-based group of activist citizens dedicated to uplifting their communities through violence prevention, education, food security initiatives, and advocacy. The program has expanded to under-resourced neighborhoods in Evansville, Indiana, Memphis, Tennessee, and New York City.
Unfortunately, the next cohort was not able to join us well, but we are thrilled to welcome her to the collective. Michal Gera Margoliot, Executive Director of the Israel Women's Network, is based in Tel Aviv. Michal, an attorney devoted to seeking and promoting equal rights for women, organization focused on gender equality in the social, military, economic, and spheres in Israel. The Women's Network is the largest gender equality organization in Israel.
Our next cohort member is providing medical masks to healthcare workers and pregnant moms in sub-Saharan Africa. I'm so happy to welcome Brooke Stern-Okath. Brooke, I know you're here.
Hi, that's me.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Great. With a background in nursing and integrative physiology, Brooke is addressing poverty in 30 Ugandan villages, affecting the lives of over 14,000 Ugandans. Her organization focuses on education, women's empowerment, food security, and maternal health initiatives.
This jewel helped lead the charge to allow women to speak on ultra-Orthodox radio stations in Israel. Yael? I don't know if we can hear her, but Yael Rockman, who we call Yael Rockstar, Executive Director of Kolech, is an attorney and feminist Orthodox activist with a background defending the rights of Jewish women in a religious divorce. Yael leads the first Orthodox Jewish feminist organization in Israel, emanating values, equality, and mutual respect, encouraging equal opportunities for women in personal, public, and religious spheres, and defeating gender violence.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for having me, and it's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
This cohort member traveled on foot for 6 weeks as a child to begin her journey from Ethiopia to Israel. Michal, are you?
Hi everyone, it's me. Happy to be here with you.
Great. Michal Avera Samuel is Executive Director of the Fidel Association. As head of the Fidel Association, Michal designs and directs programs empowering Ethiopian Israeli individuals and families through youth programs, education, parenting, and health awareness programs.
This jewel is radical welcome and the broadening of the Jewish community.
Hi everyone, delighted to be here. It's such an honor.
Thank you. Meg Sullivan, the founder and director of JCC Harlem since 2016, is establishing the institution as both a convener of a diverse Jewish community and a connector of service projects between Jewish and those from other backgrounds.
And last but not least is this cohort member, Viviana Wasserman, who leads a gender justice organization with staff on 4 continents. Unfortunately, Viviana is unable to join us tonight, but we're excited to welcome Viviana. Viviana is an attorney and an authority on women's rights and international human rights. The organization Women's Link Worldwide is based in Spain, and it's an organization that advocates for new standards to advance the human rights of women and girls, from sexual and reproductive rights to gender violence protections, and she oversees staff on 4 continents, as I said already. We're excited to welcome Viviana and all of these amazing entrepreneurs to our collective.
Yay!
Super girls.
And I love how Zoom makes it.
girls.
I love how Zoom makes them, you guys all here in the front row, and now we can see you all together. And I hope you all read the chat because you're getting lots of kudos over there. So Mazel Tov, thank you, Ayla and Miriam. Let's raise our glasses again, because, you know, 4 times, in honor of the Jewish Women Social Entrepreneurs in Cohort 1 and the new Cohort 2. Yay! If you know the women we just introduced, you know what a powerful cohort 1 is and what an incredibly powerful cohort 2 is. We feel very grateful to work with them. And if you don't know about these women, visit our website. Each one has a page. You can go and look, and it's good to get to know them, and it's good to get to know us. I want to just take a moment and thank those of you who have already donated. I'm getting this feed in my ear, and so I'm like a newscaster. I'm getting this feed in my ear, and I have to tell you that we're getting some donations here. So thank you very much. Thank you all for attending tonight. We're grateful to each of you. for your support. I hope you feel inspired and are leaving here a little more hopeful about what the future might bring when we have so many incredible women in our midst, ready and more than able to lead. In honor of our jewels, oh, Melissa, are you talking to me? In honor of our jewels, the winner of the Vel Jewelry Gift Certificate, randomly chosen among those here tonight, is, Melissa, unmute and you say it because I can't figure out the chat right now. Here she comes, here she comes. The winner is
Candy Cone.
Candy Cone! Candy Cone. I went to acting school with Candy Cone a gazillion years ago. Yay! Calling us from Florida because the New York, the Jewish Women's Foundation of New York is not just in New York. We are everywhere.
That's right.
Everybody, check your email tomorrow for the virtual swag bag that Melissa has put together for you. I want to take a moment to thank Yvel Jewelry. Thank Ellie Burrows-Gluck of Mindful, spelled MNDFL, no vowels. You are all going to, she's donated a day pass for everyone here. It's very excited, and there's lots of other fun things that Melissa and the crew have come up with. So congratulations, Candy. If you would like to donate now, text JWFNY to 44321. And finally, or second to finally, mark your calendars for May 14th from 4 to 5 p.m. For a special conversation between Cohort 1 member Evie Litwak, Executive Director of Witness to Mass Incarceration, and Rachel Weinstein. Evie knows how vulnerable LGBTQ individuals released from prison can be. And with COVID-19 running rampant through the prison system, these folks are coming out with no safety net, no one able to take them in, and their rate of homelessness is skyrocketing. Evie and Rachel will discuss confinement, something we're all getting a teeny tiny taste of, what it means and how to survive it from a very unique point of view. So look for the sign up information in your email soon. And again, May 14th from 4 to 5 p.m. Wow, we are delighted to close our program with Neshama Karlbach, whose beautiful music reminds us of how important community is, particularly in this stressful time. And while you enjoy the song, Believe, from her new album, feel free to continue texting donations to JWFNY 44321. Thank you all for being here. I raise my toast to all of you. Go Neshama.
Thank you so much, Jamie. I am blown away. I am uplifted. I am changed. I'm inspired. I feel like I should go running. I feel like I should do something amazing with my life right now. Mazel tov to you. Love and inspiration to you. Don't ever give up on all of these gorgeous visions that you have for our world. We women have been through too much, and we continue to go through too much. And thank God we have each other, and thank God for all of us that we have you. It is such a joy and an honor to be here with all of you. I'm very close to tears, so thank you for having me. I would love to share our song Believe with you to close this program. Among other things that I'm so proud of, this new work that we have created is now, actually tomorrow we're going to hear, but we are up for 4 independent music awards for this new music. And it's been very inspiring for me. It's the first time that I have ever released my own vision, my own message into the world, which, you know, it's a talk about the patriarchy. We can have that another time. So here we are. Believe is a prayer for our world. I believe in it, I feel it, I hold it more than ever, and even more after this incredible gathering. May the day come where we see heaven in each other's eyes. May the day come when we can hold each other just a little bit wider and believe. Believing is a choice. It's not simple, it's not a given. You have to wake up every day and decide that you want to believe in something larger than you. Have faith to hold on. So that's what the song is all about, and I'm going to attempt to sing this with a track, and I'm very much hoping that it works, that the track is heard and that I'm heard. If it's really awful, then stop me, Melissa, and I'll start again. It's you know, it takes some courage with this Zoom stuff. Here it is. Let us light these lights for the world tonight. Let our hearts unite in the light, in the light. There's a spark in every song, awakening, and I believe the source is love. I believe. Don't give up on everything you choose. It's closer than it seems. Who among us hasn't hoped or prayed there would come a day, and that day will make love light up the sky, and that day we'll see heaven in each other's eyes. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. I close my eyes so I can see all that can. We will rise. I do believe. I do believe. So don't give up on everything you do. It's closer than it seems. Who among us hasn't hoped or prayed there would come a day, and that day will make love light up the sky, and that day we'll see heaven in each other's eyes. I believe, I believe, I believe, believe. We'll make love light up the sky, and that day we'll see heaven in each other's eyes. Do you see? I believe, I believe. Let us light these lights for the world tonight, for the world. Let our hearts unite, believe in the light, 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 in the Thank you so much, and bless all of you. Thank you for everything, and thank you for having me.